I've always been quite obsessed with my ancestry. I've always wanted to trace my family tree, and I hope I find out things that completely surprise me or delight me and give me and my daughter more of a sense of our place, really.
No, not like that. Mom! Most people, you know, if they had roots in India or, you know, anywhere around the world, they'd want to know more about it if they knew as little as me and my mum knew.
When people say, why don't you go back to where you come from? You need to know the answer. You know, whether that's historically, emotionally, spiritually, you need to know, because you'll be asked that question all your life.
Meera Syal is one of Britain's best-known Asian faces. She became a household name with her work as a writer and actress on the hit TV series Goodness Gracious Me and the Kumars at Number 42.
There's certainly a streak of artistic expression and unconventionality in my family, and I'd love to know if I've inherited that. Because I've always wondered, you know, why am I such an oddball? And there must be a reason.
Meera was born in Britain, the first child of Indian parents who came to the UK in the early 60s.
I was a transplanted generation, and I was always aware that if I didn't really understand my past, then I wouldn't be able to make much sense of my future.
Meera begins her journey into her past with a visit to her parents who live in Walsall in the West Midlands. Meera's father, Surendra, came to England to study accounting in 1960. Just a few months later, Meera's mother joined him. They've lived in England for the past 40 years.
It'd be interesting to ask them if they have any curiosity about the family tree, actually. They might have some little burning unanswered questions. But also, I'd quite like to know where they think their unconventional streak came from, because both of them chose each other. They didn't go through the arranged marriage system, which I think was, you know, a big thing to do.
Meera's parents had a secret 7-year romance and married for love, going against the traditional Indian system of arranged marriages. Their marriage was even more unconventional because they came from different religious backgrounds. Meera's father is Hindu, her mother Sikh.
Hello. The doorbell's not working. Hello. Hi, Mum. Hi. Guess what? I brought a film crew with me. Okay, so you've met everyone. That's Mum, that's Dad.
It's the best gift, getting married.
Not fair, though. I used to feel that when I used to hear the stories.
Yeah.
Half of me was just to go, oh, so romantic. Yeah. And the other like, oh, God, I'm never going to live up to that.
You knew about marriage when you were 14.
I think 13 or 14, yeah.
I remember your words. You said, Mum, I always used to look at you both and think you're different from others.
I did, though.
Yeah.
It made perfect sense when I knew, because you weren't like most of the other uncles and aunties, you know.
Yeah.
When I heard that, oh, your parents had love marriage,
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Meera's mum, Surinder, was the daughter of Puman Singh Uppal, who as a young man was actively involved in the protest movements against British rule.
My dad belonged to a farmer's family, and he used to tell us that the men folk went to this march for freedom and all that. They were away for days.
This was anti-British demonstrations.
Yeah. I don't know anything more than this. I wish I had asked my mother or my father, in more detail, really, what really happened.
We know a bit more about Balji, don't we? My dad's dad.
Meera's dad's dad, Take Chan Syal, was a communist and well-known journalist.
If my memory serves me right, it was 1942-43, and I think you joined Milab, the newspaper.
That was in Lahore.
That was in Lahore. That's right, yes.
He used to love talking about those days, actually, if you got him going.
Yes.
He did. He was very kind
He
of
didn't
proud.
talk to me a great deal about that.
That's the way it is with children, isn't it?
Back in London, Meera's preparing to go to India to find out more about both her grandfathers.
Well, I like to keep my surfaces clean, because it's not nice coming back to a dirty surface, is it? Both my grandfathers were like these kind of very exotic, remote giants, especially my mum's dad with the turban as well and this long, beautiful white beard. And my dad's dad, was very, very bookish. He always had his head in a newspaper or a book, and he was very declamatory. Everything was shouted and with the pointy finger. I mean, he was, even at the age of 8, he was fiery. So, very different vibes from both of them. But I didn't know them, really, as people. And it would be nice to go as far back as I can, but I feel it's a shame that somebody so immediate like my grandfathers I know so little about, so I quite like to concentrate on them.
Setting off to uncover the history of her grandfathers, Meera is hoping to find out how their stories mirror hers. Meera has arrived in New Delhi, a city built by the British as a monument to an empire they thought would last 1,000 years. Although Meera's been to Delhi before, she's seen very little of the rest of India.
Delhi is really where most of my memories are. India Gate was always where we used to come for the treat, the nice walk around. It's so beautiful around there. We always used to have quality ice cream from a little blue and white cart. My mum and dad's first apartment used to be around here. They've actually shown it me. Really sweet.
Meera's dad's family moved to Delhi in 1947 and have lived here ever since. Meera knows her dad's dad, Take Chand, joined a newspaper called Tage in 1952 and worked there for over 30 years. She's on her way to the head office. Tage was founded by a well-known political campaigner, Lala Deshbandhu Gupta. His son, Ramesh Gupta, is now the editor of the paper and knew Meera's grandfather for many years.
Thank you.
When I was about 10 years old, I would just be running into the office and sitting and looking at what they were doing. And of course, then he worked as a colleague with me. He was card holder of CPI.
The Communist Party.
Yeah, the Communist Party, and he was very well known Communist Party. We had no problems with him as far as his work was concerned.
Yes.
But of course, we had a lot of trouble with him as a trade unionist, as a trade union
Yes,
leader.
I know he was involved with the trade
he
union
was
movement.
very much involved, and he gave us a lot of problems.
Did he? I'm sure he'd love to hear you say
Yeah,
that.
of course. They were a different generation.
Yes.
They believed in different ways.
They had to be so determined because just to survive those very turbulent times.
I don't believe in that they had to be. They were, and they had ideals, and then they were, because we have somehow or the other lost that. He was a rebel. Yeah, I would call him a rebel on that in his own way. So he had the strength to stand up and say what he wanted to say.
Tek Chand became politically active as a young man when he was studying in Lahore, which was then the capital of the Punjab. It was the 1930s, a time of great political unrest, as protest movements across India were uniting against British rule. Tek Chand was a member of a militant anti-British youth group and was forced underground for 3 years. In 1936, he resurfaced and joined a radical newspaper called Milap. The head office of Milap, which means union, is now in Delhi.
Hello. Namaste ji. Very nice to meet you. Delighted to meet you. Thank you. Thank you.
Naveen Suri is the current editor and the nephew of the paper's founder.
So your uncle,
Yes.
Meera Syal,
Yes.
knew my grandfather, Tek Chand Syal.
I believe they were working together. That is it.
I know my grandfather was a very prominent journalist, but
Yes.
I don't know. I'd like to know more about that time.
Milap started in 1923, and the basic idea of Milap was to promote communal harmony between Hindus and Muslims, you see, and to sort of foster unity to fight the British. The idea was let every reader feel the need to fight for freedom. It was like a cauldron, and things were boiling, all the time boiling.
The Milap newspaper advocated resisting the British policy of divide and rule, which inflamed tensions between religious communities. The British closed the newspaper down on several occasions, but it always recovered and continued to take the message of freedom to a mass readership. Finally, on the 15th of August, 1947, India won its independence. Jubilant crowds flocked to hear India's first Prime Minister, Nehru, announce the end of 200 years of British rule. Writing for Milap during the last decade of the British Raj, Tek Chand played his part in India's struggle for freedom.
Everyone worked like a family.
Right.
There was no individuality at that time. The writings done by the Milap journalists, there was no name to it. Like in today's newspapers, you see.
You see, I was going to ask you if you could, I could read any of his
they did
bylines
not give
ever.
names in those days. But I'm glad you're here, and Milap has been a part of your family, and I've been a fan of yours with your, goodness gracious me, and the Kumars at 42.
You know, when you put me next to my grandfather, I suddenly feel slightly ashamed. Yes, there's you doing comedy, and there was he doing epic things fighting the British. But actually, I suppose, I can see a thread.
Yes.
I can see a thread because, not that I could ever compare myself, maybe my work's a lot more trivial, but I think that need to actually blow apart preconceptions and to actually look at the bigger picture and to try and find your place in a society.
Yes, exactly.
And to find your own voice within that society.
That's why I say that creativity in you probably has come from Tek Chand.
I have no doubt, really. I knew that my grandfather had been quite involved in the freedom movement, but I really didn't realise to what extent. I was really struck by what an extraordinary time in history he lived through.
For Tek Chand and his family in Lahore, the moment of independence had a tragic side. India was free, but also divided, as the British had left the country partitioned along religious lines into the secular state of India and the Islamic state of Pakistan. The Punjab was split in half, and Lahore became a part of Pakistan. Tek Chand and his family were forced to flee Lahore, joining millions of Hindu and Sikh refugees heading for India, while millions of Muslims fled in the opposite direction. 10 million people left their homes in the largest mass migration in human history.
You understand, my parents particularly, so much more when you understand as children what they went through, to know that their sense of security in the world was so profoundly shattered. You know, we make fun of, you know, we've done it in Goodness Gracious Me. We've had a lot of sketches about Asian parents, you know, need to make money and marry their children to doctors and have the big car. And then it completely makes sense when you understand what our legacy is. And our legacy is that, you know, one generation, two generations learnt through bitter experience that the world is not safe, that your world can turn upside down in a moment.
By the time Tek Chand and his family arrived in Delhi, they had lost everything. They were given a small piece of land in an area set aside for refugees who'd been forced to leave their homes by partition. 50 years later, the refugee camp has been totally transformed. Tek Chand lived here for 35 years, and Meera's uncle, Narendra, still has a house in the same street as the family's original plot of land. Narendra is Meera's father's eldest brother and considered the head of the family.
No.
And this is mine.
I knew what you wanted. Chocolate's the best thing to bring, isn't it?
Oh, thank you so much. I would definitely like it. It's a very good thing.
Christmas is over.
Okay, thank you so much.
So, Dayaji, you know, I'm trying to trace Baoji's history.
You want to inquire all these things regarding ancestors?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's better that we should go to Hardwar.
Why do we need to go to Haridwar?
There is a Pandit called, just like you can say it, priest.
We have to see a family priest in Haridwar. That's who has the record.
Yeah. He will tell you each and everything.
You're not having?
No, I can't. Teeth. Dand nahi.
Oh.
तो डेंचर नहीं अपना इस्तेमाल करते थे.
I've kept it.
As a souvenir in a box.
So I said it in the box.
Should I bring it?
Go on, let's have a look. Let's see the dentures. Why not? Thank you. Go on then.
It's nice.
You look 50 years younger, Dayaji.
Early next morning, Meera and her aunt and uncle are heading to Haridwar to look at the traditional ancestral records kept by their family priest. Their guide, Sunil, has made the arrangements and will go with them on the journey. Haridwar is one of several important Hindu pilgrimage sites on the banks of India's most sacred river, the Ganges. Meera's aunt and uncle are regular pilgrims to Haridwar, but Meera's never been before.
She's accompanying me for the first time. I think she will like it. She'll definitely like it.
Well, they say for Hindus, if you immerse yourself in the Ganga, at that moment you have washed all your sins away. I've also been told I shouldn't go in because I'll probably catch something, so it's a balance, isn't it? I would like to, but I don't know. Do you bathe in the Ganga?
Yes, I go inside.
Is it
Yes, I
safe?
take my bath. Last time when I went there, I took my bath. She also took her bath.
When you say bath, what do you mean bath? You mean take water and pour it
No,
like
no,
that?
you can go inside the river.
Wearing what? Wearing this?
Yes, with your clothes. That is your own sweet will. You can do whatever you like.
I could have bought my swimming costume, you know, because I have one.
Yeah.
That would have been better.
As you wish.
Meera swimming कर रही है.
Haridwar attracts pilgrims throughout the year, but Meera's arrived in the middle of a major festival. The Kava festival is a homage to the Hindu god Shiva. During the 10 days of the festival, more than 6 million pilgrims will pass through the city, collecting sacred water from the Ganges to take back to their villages.
You're going to make me go in, aren't you? So she's going to make me go in.
You want to take the bath?
Not right now. Maybe a bit later.
Yes, of course.
Meera's arrived at the home of the family priest. There are thousands of priests in Haridwar, but only a select group keep ancestral records in books like these. Bhagwati Prasad and his family have been recording the Syal genealogy for almost 200 years.
ये हमारी सब लाइब्रेरी है और ये आपके परिवार का.
Like many Hindus, Meera's family have been making the pilgrimage to Haridwar, recording the births and deaths of family members for generations.
2061.
Meera's family are descendants of an ancient tribe called the Syals and belong to the Khatri, or trader caste. The records of all Khatri Syals are in this book. But it takes the experience of the priest to pick out the entries made by Meera's family.
Yes, according to Hindu calendar.
तो आपके परिवार से सबसे पहले हमारे यहाँ संवत 1860 में आए थे और तब से ही हमने आपके इस परिवार के लेख को लिपिबद्ध करना शुरू कर दिया है. ये आपके जो पूर्वज हैं, ग्रेट ग्रैंडफादर, उनका अपने हाथ का इंडोर्समेंट है. ये आप देखें थोड़ा उठ करके. ये आपके मैं बताऊंगा फिर आपको. ये आपके ग्रेट ग्रैंडफादर का है.
हाँ जी, पंडित जी पूछ रही है कि सबसे पुराना हमारा कौन सा है, उसका नाम जरा बता दीजिए. सबसे पुराना जो हमारा,
वो मैं बतला रहा हूँ आपको जी. ये सबसे पहले हमारे यहाँ आए थे आपके खजान राम बेटे बहादुर सिंह के ग्रैंडसन मूलराज.
कौन सा विलेज है?
अरे
वही लिसाड़े से ही है ना सारे?
हाँ जी, सब लिसाड़े से. वाज बिलोंग्स टू लिसाड़ा गांव.
Meera's ancestors in the Syal book have named Lasara, a village in the Punjab, as their home.
That's where Baoji was from, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we've always been from there.
Yes.
The oldest entry is by Kajan Ram, who came to Haridwar in 1820 and cited 3 generations of his ancestors. Meera can now trace her ancestry back 9 generations to about 1750. Almost 100 years before official record keeping began in Britain. But the records at Haridwar only follow the male line, and the names of women are rarely recorded, something Meera is about to address.
You can put Leytonstone in London.
बेटी का क्या नाम है?
Chameli. Absolutely brilliant. She's in the book.
And you have to sign.
With pleasure.
Back outside, Meera is swept up by the Kava pilgrims as they head down to the banks of the river Ganges.
I've never been anywhere like this before. I mean, fantastic to experience it, fantastic to have met the Pandit. We've got some valuable information that we wouldn't have got anywhere else, and I suppose we're lucky that we're here on the day of such a major festival, but it's very male. There's just a lot of very fired up young men in orange walking about. It's only high spirits. I don't feel like they're being aggressive or anything, but got my bodyguard here. He'll see them off. It's very strong. Don't be deceived. Muscles of steel.
Meera is taking part in the Aarti ceremony, which happens every evening at sunset. Almost all pilgrims at Haridwar attend the arti. Today there are 500,000 devotees gathered to worship the river Ganges. In 1995, after the death of Meera's grandfather, Tek Chand, her uncle brought his ashes back here to immerse them in the holy water.
It's a very special place. I mean, whether you're religious or not, there is something quite magical about it. And you know, for me, I know that the ashes of so many of my ancestors have been down this river, this very place, including my own grandparents.
As the ceremony gathers momentum, Meera makes the traditional offering of flowers and milk to the sacred river. "5 a.m. the next day, and already more pilgrims are pouring into the holy city. But Meera's first trip to Haridwar has come to an end, and she says goodbye to her aunt and uncle.
Bye. Bye, Vita. See you next week. It's been fantastic being here while this festival's on. Last night was really incredible communal experience. You feel like you were breathing in with one breath and breathing out with one breath.
Meera's heading to Lasara, the village in the Punjab where her grandfather, Tek Chand, was born. It's an 11-hour drive from Haridwar to Lasara, in the east of the Punjab. The Punjab was one of the last Indian territories to come under British control, and fell in 1849 after a series of fierce battles. Today, the Punjab is at the heart of India's rural economy. Meera's never been to rural Punjab, and she knows very little about the Syal family village.
A lot of my dad's brothers and my dad have talked about it in passing, just saying, oh, we were there at that time. But I don't know anything about it in detail. It's just been a place name that's been mentioned. I think maybe we had a farm out there. I remember my father mentioning a farm of some kind, but that could have been somebody else.
Lasara is a prosperous village with a population of about 10,000. Local legend says it was founded by 3 men, a Muslim, Rajput, a Sikh, Saini, and a Hindu, Syal. Meera's grandfather, Tek Chand, was born in Lasara in 1910, and her ancestors have lived here for more than 250 years.
मैं लंदन तो आ गई और मैं सियाल दी फैमिली है।
हाँ मैं पहले इनको क्या सियाला नहीं लंदन तो
जी जी
आपके पेड़ राजधानी
जी मैं सियाल दी बारी पता करना है।
अच्छा ठीक है पुराना अपना नगर देखना है ठीक है
हाँ जी मेरा देहात
अच्छा
सरोवर और मंदिर
जरूर देखेंगे जरूर
बहुत देर तक नहीं कहे 100 साल पहला
जी ठीक है हाँ जी शुक्रिया They're so lovely.
Meera is going to see the village priest, Ratan Chand Sharma, who keeps the village history. The priest has a set of records that have been in his family for 4 generations. These are the original land records, drawn up under the British in 1887. Compiled for taxation purposes, The records are on a single, uncut piece of fabric to prevent fraud by cutting out any section of the document.
It's like a sari, isn't it?
The records show the property and family trees of every family that owned land in Lasara in the late 19th century. The Syal clan owned nearly a third of the village, so there are hundreds of Syals in the records. Meera's looking for the names of the ancestors she found listed in the priest's book at Haridwar.
Har Gopal, Mulraj, Hazari Mul.
ये देखिए मतलब गाना ना रतन राय दा जसवंत राय दा देवा सहाय हैं मंगू मतलब ना कृपा राम फकीर चंद
Bahadur Singh.
बहादुर
Madan Gopal.
सज्जू माला राणा राम राजा राम गंगा राम बिक्का राम
No. Kajan Ram, Bahadur Singh, Mulraj, Hazari Mul, Hari Chand.
मैया गोविंद हैं नरपत गणपत
2 hours later, and Meera still hasn't found her ancestors.
You have to be patient. Yes, I think they're in here. I don't feel depressed about that at all. Yeah, it would have been nice to find the name today. Was that a buffalo? I thought it was me. I told you. Thank you.
The priest and his nephew are determined to carry on the search. But Meera wants to see more of the village where her grandfather, Tek Chand, grew up.
Wow. We shouldn't be walking in this heat, should we? Mad dogs and Englishmen.
This is Syal's Haveli, one of the way we used to be, and they shifted to Jalabia.
Really? This was a Syal house?
Yeah, this is Syal house.
That's beautiful.
बस ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਟੇਕਨ ਸਿਆਲ ਜੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਸੀ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਕਰ ਸੀਗਾ
ਉਹ ਇਦਾਂ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਆਇਆ ਤਾਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਸਾਲੇ ਮੇਰੀ ਸਾਂਝੀ ਸੀ 50 ਹੱਥਾਂ ਦੀ
Meera's bumped into Baldev Singh, the man who now lives in her grandfather Tek Chand's old home. When Meera's grandfather was growing up in Lasara, the village was made up of almost equal numbers of Hindus, Muslims and Sikhs. Tek Chand's neighbours here included families from all three religions.
ਟੇਕ ਜਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਤੂੰ ਕੁੜੀ ਪੋਤੀ ਨਾ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ 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 ਮੈਂ ਜਾਣਦਾ ਟੇਕ ਜਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਚੰਗਾ ਬੜਾ ਦਿੱਲੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਜਾਵਾਂ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਮਿਲ ਕੇ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਸੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਆ ਕੇ
That wasn't the original structure, was it?
No.
This is new.
Yeah, this is a new thing, and the old wall, I mean, that is now.
It's the old wall, the crumbly old wall where the hens are. I want to take a stone from the original. Can I? Could you ask the gentleman if I'm allowed? Is it all right if I take one stone? Ik kafiya, thank you. Let's go.
Tek Chand left Lasara to study in Lahore in the early 1930s, but his parents stayed on in the village. In 1947, at the time of partition, Tek Chand brought his family back to the sanctuary of his ancestral home. But by then Lasara had changed. Partition had ripped into the tolerant fabric of the village, and many Muslims were killed in religious violence. So Tek Chand decided to take his family to Delhi. He never returned to his ancestral village. But 50 years on, Meera discovers that there's still one place in Lasara that reflects her grandfather's ideal of communal harmony. This is the grave of a Muslim saint who preached universal brotherhood.
This is one of the places in the village where people of all religions can come and worship, which is a really remarkable thing. I think it only happens in India. I'm really pleased it's in my home village. Have you seen the audience? Look at this. Just pan round. Smile.
Take Chand's children and grandchildren now live in towns and cities. But the other side of Meera's family still have strong rural connections. Meera's mother's father, Puman Singh Uppal, was born in the village of Basian, just 2 hours' drive from Lasara. Puman Singh was the eldest son of a Sikh family who have farmed land in Basian for generations. Meera is meeting her aunt, Jeet Marsi, and her cousin, Colonel Devinder Nija. Jeet Marsi is taking Meera to see the family home. It's the first time Meera has seen the house built by her grandfather in the 1930s.
It's beautiful. Mummy di kamre kidhar hai?
Jara mummy da janam aur class kamre ja upar chha.
Holy, holy. This is the view. So before, when Mummy looked out from this balcony, this was all fields, was it?
Yeah.
A great place to grow up. Jijaji, who owns this house now?
The three sisters, your mom, eldest, and the one in Canada.
Which means that I sort of own it, really, as well.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously.
Really?
Yes. You getting it in the camera? No, you have one here. And one, I think, in the balcony, you'll get a better one.
Do you know what, Jijaji? I don't think I can get up the stairs. Buddhi ho gayi?
Oh, you're
Hun
not-
zyada garmi hai.
Don't tell me, you're not.
Hi, oi, hi, You got a buffalo's bum in the shot. Take care. Baby. My grandmother. And my grandfather. Baouji di papa tenu pata si? Kidhar rehndhe pe? Ither? So we've been here a long time. This is definitely. Do you know how far back we go here, Basian?
Pehla to yahi shuru to. Pehla na baap udu pardada. Pehla to
200, 300 saal.
Khandan nahi chali gaya.
Friend banaya.
Oh.
Bapuji is the first person who went out of the village. First, she was saying, went to Calcutta.
Really?
Which jagto de morche chale gayi. 21 saal si mera khayal. 21 de vich.
In 1921 he went to
Went for that
Jaitu March, I believe.
11ਵਾਂ ਜੱਥਾ ਸੀ ਨਾ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਵਾਲਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਚਿਰ ਲੱਗੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਜ਼ਾ ਮਿਲੀ ਸੀ ਪਹਿਲੇ
Meera's grandfather, Puman Singh, was part of an anti-British protest movement known as the Jaito Morcha. The movement began in the early 20s, when protests against British rule were brewing throughout the Punjab. In 1923, Sikhs holding an anti-British prayer meeting at a Gurudwara or Sikh temple in the village of Jaito were arrested. In a bid to contain the public outcry, the British then banned all prayer meetings at the Sikh temple in Jaito. For the next 2 years, Sikh protest groups collected at the Golden Temple in Amritsar and marched south for 8 weeks to the village of Jaito, demanding the right to resume prayers at their temple. Meera's grandfather, Puman Singh, was in the 11th group of protesters.
It's quite remarkable that I've got freedom fighters on both sides of the family. I'm really proud of that. From my mother's family, you get how the freedom struggle began from grassroots level, from the people that worked the land. And then through my father's family, you see how the struggle was taken up in a more urban way, in a more literary way. So I can really see a through line, which is really pleasing.
The village of Jaito is in the south of the Punjab, and Meera's going there to find out more about the Jaito movement.
It's very good for your soul to see the land you've come from. And also I'm learning so much about Punjabi history as I'm going along, which is amazing. And really makes me realise, how important it is to have not only some historical knowledge, but to also understand, whose version of history is it? I was only taught Indian history from a British point of view. I was in a British school. Didn't know about the Jaito March, for example. I knew something about the freedom movement, but to know it so personally is a different matter. To know that your family's been involved in it.
This is the Sikh temple in Jaito, where Meera's grandfather marched to in the scorching summer of 1924.
It's too hot. I'm coming down.
You go on the side here, on this.
Oh, now you tell me there's a cloth. Oh. All marble.
ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰੀ ਜੈਤੋ ਮੋਰਚੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਕੁਝ
ਇੱਥੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਖਤਮ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਹੀ ਦੱਸਣਾ ਵੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਹੋਇਆ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਇਹ ਤੇ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋਇਆ ਇਹ ਹੋਇਆ 11ਵੇਂ ਜੱਥੇ ਤੱਕ 25 ਦੇ ਜਥੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਇਹ 100 501 ਦਾ ਜਥਾ ਸੀ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਇਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਗੋਲੀ ਚੱਲੀ ਗੋਲੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਮਤਲਬ ਇਹ ਆਏ ਉੱਥੇ ਗੋਲੀ ਚੱਲ ਜਦੋਂ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਗੋਲੀ ਚੱਲੀ 1.5 ਮਿੰਟ ਇੱਕ ਗੋਲੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਰੋ ਹੈ ਇਹ ਰੋ ਸੈਂਡ ਦੀ ਸੀ ਇਹਦੇ ਤੋਂ ਮਸ਼ੀਨ ਗਨਾਂ ਵੀਡੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਸੀ
The first group of protesters to arrive in Jaito found the road to the temple blocked by rows of heavily armed British troops. The British commanding officer ordered the protesters to stop, but they continued to march, and within minutes the British had opened fire. The firing was followed by a cavalry charge, and almost 100 protesters were killed.
ਜਥੇ ਵਾਲਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹੁਕਮ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਹਥਿਆਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੱਕਣਾ ਹਥਿਆਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਹੈ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਦੂਜੀ ਗੱਲ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਰ ਕੇ ਪੈਦਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਣਾ
They stood like this so they could see. They had no weapons.
ਹਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਸੀ ਮੌਤ ਤਾਂ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਚੱਲਦੇ ਰਿਹਾ ਫਿਰ
we know there's going to be certain death.
They still went. Yes, I understood. It was a massacre.
Meera's next stop is the city of Amritsar, home to the holiest of Sikh shrines, the Golden Temple. During the Jaito marches, fresh groups of protesters gathered here month after month to take a solemn oath of non-violence before setting out on the march to Jaito. Meera is travelling along the same route her grandfather, Puman Singh, walked along when there was just a dusty camel trail to follow. At the time of the Jaito movement, in the early 1920s, Amritsar was a hotbed of political activity. The Golden Temple was the centre of Sikh protest against British rule. Today, the Golden Temple complex includes the Sikh Reference Library, where Meera hopes to find some record of her grandfather's part in the protest.
Shri Akal ji.
Very nice to meet you. Meera Syal. Who's Who Punjab Freedom Fighters.
Yes.
What a great...
This is publication of Punjabi University Patiala. In this book, the names all freedom fighters of Punjab who participated in the freedom struggle of India. Your grandfather, he was born in 1894 at village and post office Bassiyan,
Yes.
district Ludhiana, and joined the 11th Jatha to Jato Morcha, and imprisoned in 1924 for 1 year and 3 months in the jail, in Naba jail. Okay.
Meera's grandfather was arrested, along with 463 of the 501 members of his group. During the entire Jato protest movement, 14,000 Sikhs were imprisoned. They were given sentences of 5 to 10 years and placed in makeshift jails, where many died due to malnutrition and torture.
You know, I knew some facts about my family, but I really wanted to find out what was real and what was just, you know, auntie stories. You never know. But to
Yes.
see it written down like this,
Yes.
you think he's been remembered properly,
Yes.
and that's important.
Yes.
Thank you. Really, I'm so pleased to have found him.
Yes. This Jatha is proceeding towards Jato, and the policemen charging this Jatha.
It's really hard to believe this is real, these pictures, in the sense that they're so epic in their scale and feel. It's really hard to relate to the fact that my grandfather was part of this.
No, see this picture. An English sergeant
Yes, I can see.
ordering the Jatha to go back.
Now listen here, chaps. We've had quite enough of this. Would you go home now?
Oh, yes.
He's looking awfully upset.
See the last phase of the movement of Jato Morcha. See the pictures of the martyrs, the 2 martyrs.
By the end of the Jato protests, more than 300 Sikhs had been shot dead. Over the 2 years of the movement, almost 16,000 Sikhs marched to Jato. Hundreds of thousands of villagers gathered to support them on their long march to freedom. Before setting out to Jato, Meera's grandfather would have walked across this very spot. As the sun sets over the Golden Temple, Meera pays tribute to her grandfather, Puman Singh Opal, and the martyrs of Jato. Early in 1925, the Jato movement ended with victory for the Sikhs. The British lifted the ban against prayers at Jato and passed an act giving control of Sikh temples back to their congregations. All prisoners, including Meera's grandfather, were released. As Meera's journey comes to an end, she's taking the night train to Delhi before flying back home to London.
This journey's been much more like a pilgrimage than anything else. You know, at the beginning of the programme, it seemed to be all about finding out facts and how far back can I go, and I must get the dates right. And it's become less and less and less about that. You know, I found out some incredible facts about both my grandfathers, haven't gone much beyond that. But that's okay, because along the way, I have learnt such a lot about the history of the region, a lot about the relatives I've spent time with, because I've seen them in a different light. I've seen places in India that I haven't been before. And I suspect, you know, for everybody that is thinking of doing this, it would be a shame if people get hung up on, you know, I have to find out back to the 15th century. Even if you only go back one generation, you will experience a lot just on the journey, I think. I have to show you some amazing photographs.
Yeah.
Because you knew that your father was part of the Jeto Morcha.
Yeah, yeah.
But you didn't know much beyond that, did you? I found out so much. This is the 11th Jatha. It took them over 2 months to march.
Wow.
And that's the one that Nanaji was on.
Yes.
Isn't that incredible? We have to see if we can spot him.
It would be very difficult, really. Because I have different images of my dad, not when he was young. I mean, everybody with a turban, that age group, looks like my dad to me.
He was imprisoned for 18 months and tortured. Did you know that?
He never talked about it. All I knew that he was away from home for a long time, at that time when he went. But nothing else was said. Can't believe it.
Maybe people in India aren't as sentimental as we are because they've grown up on that soil.
Yeah.
And they've had the history all around them.
Yes.
But for us, I think there's something inbuilt.
Yeah.
That, you know, once you start talking about the homeland, everybody cries.
Of course.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's a very intangible thing, but you just know that there's a little space, an India-shaped space. So it was nice. It was.
Yeah. Lovely and sad both. But after so many years, but I'm glad you've gone there and looked into it.
Wrapped in an authentic Indian plastic bag.
Yeah.
This is from your home in Lasarda, the family home.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Smells of India. Yeah. Dung. Real history.
We'll treasure it for another 500 years.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Our children and their children
Yeah.
will smell it.